My name is Dr. Herin Otieno Menya. I am the founder of EduTalk Afrique Radio, Africa's #1 online education radio. I conceptualize the EduTalk Afrique Radio as a revolution in Africa's education. It's about us Africans taking back the narrative on education and building or creating a space for the sharing of ideas and innovations and best practices by Africans on education for Africans. Noting that radio is the most adopted, the culture to listening to radio is the most widely spread culture in terms of media platforms, but also noting that mobile telephony and internet connection is increasingly growing across the continent and has even risen thanks to COVID-19. There is an opportunity to create a safe space where Africa's stakeholders, right at the grassroots levels, the teachers, the parents, the policymakers, those who work in CSOs, for example, to create a platform where they can continuously have a conversation for the sake of, and provide to allow for cross-pollination of ideas, but also to allow for collaboration, catalyzing collaborations, and as I said, to allow for celebrating contextually grounded education interventions. For a very long time, Africans have always traveled to Europe or to the US to look for new education ideas to implement in the continent, and that is part of the education challenge. So through EduTalk Afrique Radio, we will be seeking to address that. And then the numbers that we are targeting, remember that Africa's population is very young. We have almost 1 billion people under the age of 35 years old. That means they're either in school or the billion, a proportion of that are parents who have children in school. So people who are generally very concerned about what's going on with education, because education in Africa is always the game changer. Unfortunately, in our media spaces, we've not had space for conversations on education. And that's what EduTalk Afrique Radio is here to change through our Country in Focus shows, which will be co-aired in collaboration with local FM radio stations. We expect to democratize dialogue on education and allow for the general public to hold their leaders accountable on the decisions and the policies that are shaped. Further, through this, we expect to create an expanded space for professional learning amongst key stakeholders at the different levels, whether it's early childhood, basic or higher institutions of learning, specific topical shows that would allow teachers from across a country to share ideas or listen to an expert in a specific area and draw from that, or even lecturers or even students in institutions of higher learning. So far, just within 3 months of trial shows, we already have had over 500 live listeners, over 1,500 plus downloads. And as we get to the next phase where we begin partnering with with local FM stations, we expect that the listenership numbers are going to grow exponentially. And there is a business opportunity for advertisements, for hosting sponsored shows, and even for being the place to be just to listen to topical conversations on education. The revolution is here, and that revolution in education is EduTalk Afrique Radio.